Hi, I'm Simon, and I am with the legendary and great friend of mine, Bob Harris, wonderful broadcaster from all around the world. We have seen his work over the decades, and he is involved in a very special project at the moment. So, Bob, I'm going to hand over to you, and you can tell us more about what you're up to at the moment.
Okay, good to see you, Simon. And yes, in fact, my hoodie sort of begins to explain it, because it's the 60th anniversary of the recording of Stand By Me by Benny King. And from the moment I first heard it, it became my favorite record ever. I bought it, I bought the single when it came out at the beginning of 1961, and I've absolutely loved it ever since. And of course, we're all of us experiencing the impact of COVID. And I think no community has felt the impact more than the roots music community here in the UK. So I was trying to think what we could do to help. I'm an ambassador for Help Musicians, which is a charity that's been running now for nearly 100 years, actually. And the idea is, of course, that's what they do. They help musicians in times of trouble. So I thought maybe we could create a new version of Stand By Me to celebrate the 60th anniversary of the original, and donate all the proceeds that we raise to help musicians. So that's what we've done. We reached out to some of my friends and some of my favorite artists to take part in the recording. And of course, nowadays with technology as it is, we can get people to record at their own home or their own studio and bounce it back to us. So my son Miles has been in charge of all the production process, and we've created a new version of the song, which in itself is gorgeous. But Miles also asked all the artists to film themselves as they were doing their recordings. So we've created a beautiful video from the recordings they all sent us. So yeah, that's it. And the record came out on the 27th of October. So exactly on the day that the original was first recorded. And it went into the charts briefly on the back of all the pre-orders, which is good. So we've got the download available, which you can get via our GoFundMe campaign. It's gofundme.com/standbyme 2020. So the download is available. We've got a vinyl version of the single too. And in fact, I've got, this is the test pressing of the vinyl version. And This is going to be out. Yeah, I know, this is so exciting. I'm going to get this framed actually. And there's the original, that's the Benny King. And with this, my friend Morgan he's known as Supersized Art. And as Supersized Art, he's created a new, like 4-foot square reproduction of my original single. He's a genius. This is what he does. He creates these big 3-dimensional copies of your original, even down to a little tear in the sleeve, or he's reproduced my writing on the sleeve and Benny King's signature and everything else. So that's ready now, and we're just about to auction that off. And Morgan's pieces go for like £20,000 a go. So that's the sort of money we're hoping we'll be able to raise by the work that he's done as well. So we've got the merch. So it's quite a package of fundraising items, if you like, that we've put out there. We've so far got in just over £20,000. We want to at least double that if we can. So that's exactly where we are right this minute.
And so from the point of view of, I mean, when did you originally have this idea? When did it sort of dawn on you that this was the way to go? This was the idea and the project to go for?
Probably about 3 months ago, 3.5 months ago, something like that. So it's all come together very quickly. We started reaching out to friends, musicians that we know here and in the States, and it was great because the Mars created a backtrack, and effectively then what's called a click track, so that everybody could adhere to the same tempo. And then we began to reach out, and the first vocal we got back was from my friend Jimmy Allen, who's a black country music star, emerging star in Nashville. He's up for a new artist award at the CMAs this year, for example. He's really fantastic. And he sent a vocal back, which we just absolutely loved so much. If we'd not had any other vocal, Jimmy's vocal would have carried us through the whole song. So that became the guide for sort of everyone else, really. So when you listen to the start of the track, you first hear Leland Sklar on bass, one of the greatest bass players in the world. You hear lovely guitar licks from Mark Knopfler, who provided the guitar that runs all the way through it. You hear lovely piano work in the background from Rick Wakeman. And then the first voice you hear is Jimmy Allen, because we thought his vocal was so strong that he opens the song up. And then he's followed by Roseanne Cash, and then people like Kebmo, Darius Rucker, Peter Frampton, and then from Britain, people like Ward Thomas, The Shires, Wildwood Kim, Leo Sayer, Kiki D, Mark Cohen, Duane Eddy. I mean, it's 55 artists on the record altogether. And that suggests that it might sound cluttered, but it doesn't. Mars is a production genius, and you can hear everything everywhere. Everybody gets their moment in the production. You can hear every single voice, and it's beautiful. It's a really lovely record, so we're very proud of it.
From a technical point of view, I can say to everyone that's out there listening and watching this at the moment, I've heard this and watched this, and it is just jaw-dropping. I just think the production on it is just on a different planet, and it's just been a wonderful, wonderful project with all these incredible people. Now, one of the things I was going to ask is, did they all come from your rather amazing black book, or did this kind of get out a lot virally within your community, that somebody was doing it and then somebody else wanted to do it, or did it come all through your links and lines?
Pretty much we achieved it by reaching out. There was a little bit of, oh, I hear you're doing, can I do it too? Particularly in Nashville, where, Beth Nielsen Chapman was one of the first people. Then Mary Gaucher said she'd like to contribute something. And then our friend Kimmy Rhodes heard about it, and Kimmy gave me a call, and I said, yeah, Kimmy, definitely. So there were a few that got in touch with us, but mostly it was us reaching out to them. And pretty much everybody picked up the invitation. It was brilliant.
And from the point of view of production, obviously, for your son to kind of get all this done, for Mars to do this, when he's got all this material together, how long did it then take him to actually then put all this together? The video that we're seeing, how long did that take?
Well, incredibly, seemingly just a few days. I mean, what Mars was doing was, as people sent in their contributions, Mars was already putting them in place. So he didn't have a thing where, there was a massive, great stockpile, and then, what do you do? How do you fit it all in? He was sort of beginning to build the jigsaw puzzle as pieces arrived. So we spent an afternoon here in the studio at one point, assembling the voices, seeing who would start, who would take over from them. And what Mars had initially done is he'd listened through all the vocal performances and had pulled out from each person a highlight where clearly, they've sung this line brilliantly. And then basically put those in the jigsaw puzzle, and then either just hotched them around a little bit or added things to those once those were in place. So in other words, with the jigsaw, isn't it? You've got the corners and then and the edges, and you sort of work in from there. And that's sort of what Mars had done with this. And he did it in virtually no time. I mean, it's awesome what he's done. It really, really is. And he's done it on his own. It's the kind of work that would usually take a team of 8 or 10 people to do when you think it's across the audio, which involves editing, mixing, placing, all the technicalities. And then the film, the same, with the editing in particular. The editing of the film is really, massive project. And he's done it completely on his own. Apart from that one afternoon that we spent here, and obviously from afar, he would be sending me some of the links, rather some of the mixes as they occurred, for my opinion. But basically, we all let Miles get on with it because we know that he's so brilliant at doing this. And I mean, the result is absolutely breathtaking. It really is.
It is extraordinary, isn't it? I mean, and so people sort of finding this song, if they want to go and see the video and then obviously give to the cause. I mean, obviously we can see by your hoodie, Stand By Me 2020, and they go there. But obviously you've done a number of sort of these kind of Skype calls and promotional things. Where else can we track you down to kind of find this? What other places are you on?
Well, I don't want to be confusing about it. So I'd probably say the best thing to do to donate, because that's the most important thing, is gofundme.com/standbyme 2020. That's the headline message. Okay, so I don't want to sort of confuse that. But obviously on my website, there's further details. You can see the video on my website as well. Which is bobharris.org, O-R-G. And you can get the track itself on any of the download platforms. iTunes is the one we always push people towards. It's there on iTunes. If you look up Whispering Bob's All Stars, that's the name of the group. I play triangle on the record.
That's the best bit. That is the best bit, isn't it? I mean, the other guys, they're all right, but the triangle makes it, I think,
Absolutely. Well, Mars had to talk me out of the 15-minute triangle solo, but you win some, you lose some.
Oh, that should be on the B-side.
Yes, actually, on this vinyl, as I say, this vinyl will be coming out very soon. And so you've got the vocal version on the A side and then the instrumental version on the B side. And the instrumental version just on its own is absolutely gorgeous because there you can hear things like there's a wonderful steel guitar sound that sweeps around in the background, C.J. Hillman. And when you're just listening to the instrumental, you can pick these moments out much more. Peter Frampton plays great guitar. Duane Eddy plays great guitar, obviously. So you can hear the instrumental side of it much more when you're not distracted by the vocals. So the B side is a valid piece of art in its own right, So.
And with this vinyl, can they get it at that site? Can people get it at that site? Where can they get the vinyl?
Yeah, I mean, you can order it. Yes. Literally the GoFundMe, you can order there. You can order it on my site as well if you want to. My site's all set up to take orders. So and we've only got a limited run of 500 vinyl singles being pressed, and we've not far sold out. We've sold over 400. We're doing a sort of within that. We're doing a very limited edition 150, which is signed by myself and by Miles and some of the artists that have taken part. The big supersized art that Morgan Howell has created for us, I've signed that, Morgan has signed that, and we're hoping, as I say, that really does raise some serious money. That's what we'd like to happen. If we could get up to around the 50 or 60,000 pound mark and hand that money across into help musicians, that would be absolutely amazing. That's the sort of target we're aiming at if we can.
And from the point of view of helping artists, what kind of, for people that are sort of maybe quite new to this but want to help, how does the money then get used by the artists? Where does it go?
Well, Help Musicians has got, I think, a list of not far off 20,000 musicians currently that have applied to them for, I don't know, you call it a grant, but a helping hand, let's say. in one form or another to help them with their rent, with the basics, because our community hasn't been working for 7 or 8 months now. And this is a community that absolutely relies on live gigs for its living. So you take the live gigs away, and it's not just the musicians, it's the roadies, the sound people, the lighting technician, the person who drives the musician to the gig, the person on the box office at the gig itself, person who works the bar. All of these people, they're not working, and so there's a huge. It's hard to really sort of put into words. I mean, this studio here normally, as you know, Simon, during the summer in particular, is very, very busy. There's usually a session in here probably 3 or 4 times a week. Well, the studio has been empty since March. And so I've noticed that, because I haven't got people coming and toing and froing from the studio and from the house, and I missed that. Also, I was supposed to be out on tour this summer with Danny Baker. We've lost a lot of money, Danny and I, with the postponement of that tour. So I'm even myself touched and affected financially by what's been going on. So that's the thing. How musicians, the musicians under their wing, as it were, can apply to them for a loan or a grant or just a donation, literally, to pay next month's rent. That it really is as sort of basic as that.
And is that sort of, we spoke about this the other day, but is that predominantly here in the UK, or is it a project that will go out to other countries as well?
Well, the single has been released in America on Big Machine, which is the label that initially signed Taylor Swift, of course, Scott Borchetta. They dominate the charts, the country charts in the States. So we couldn't be with anyone better. Scott has his own pet parallel charity in the States, which a little bit of the money that we generate from America is going to go to, but then the rest is going to come back to us. I've done a lot of interviews. I mean, a lot of interviews to promote this and back it up. And the goodwill towards this project has been incredible. In actual fact, Kevin Brennan, who is the Member of Parliament for Cardiff West, tabled an early day motion at the House of Commons backing our release of this single and asking the Commons to get behind it. And I mean, it's just been, it really has been incredible.
And so for a message for all the musicians that are out there, sort of having to cope with this pandemic, we're looking into 2021 now as being a date, hopefully, that people can get back to life and to doing things. Have you been impressed by how many musicians have taken to the net and all these fantastic virtual concerts that have been done? It's been quite amazing how people have sort of been so innovative during this period.
It's true. Well, if you're a musician, you have to play, don't you? Players only love you when they're playing. As Stevie Nicks, that Dreams phenomenon actually is incredible, isn't it, on TikTok? But that's another topic. Yes, it really has been the most phenomenal project, Simon. It really has. And I think with the record itself, you can tell when people really mean it. And there's a lot of love been poured into this project by the artists that have contributed to the track. And you really, really can tell that. It really does show.
It is something else. I mean, it's just what I really loved about it is, you showed me it. I went to have a look at it, and you just sit there all the way through with this huge smile on your face, because all of these people you can tell they've jumped down the rabbit hole on this.
Yeah.
Really put everything into it, and you've got people with their kids, and you've got people playing violin and other instruments, and you've got people in different places, and the voices and the emergence of the voices, just as you said with Miles, he's just done such a wonderful job. But you come out of it and it lifts your spirits, which of course is a big part of it. It really is.
Well, that's one of the things that people have been saying to me as I've been doing the interviews, that where at the moment things look so bleak, kind of all round, really. There's so little good news about the place that something like this just lifts the spirits. The artists have been so generous with what they've done, and that generosity in itself demonstrates the fact that there are still good things going on in the world, you know, that we can, this is a bit of a shining light in that respect.
And so again, just for people's clarity of thought, and if they want to engage, where can they find this song and where can they find your cause?
Okay, so GoFundMe is the place that they can go to donate, and that's gofundme.com/standbyme2020. You can look at the video and get all sorts of extra information by going onto my website, which is bobharris.org, O-R-G, and there's facility there to order the track and to order some of the merch, to order the 7-inch single. So yeah, and my site is a good central hub for all of this.
Brilliant. And so just a quick one, obviously back on the vinyl, because I know a lot of people are really interested in vinyl these days, and there's not that many left. If they go onto the site, how much are the vinyls to buy?
We've got about just over 100 left. It won't look like this. This is literally the test pressing, the white label. It's going to have the under the apple tree artwork, because that's the thing. We've got our own label for this in Britain. As you know, Simon, the studio here sits under the apple tree at the bottom of my garden. So the sessions are called the Under the Apple Tree sessions. So we're putting the single out on the Under the Apple Tree label. So it'll look very lovely when you actually get it. And as I say, I'm going to sign it. We'll get as many artists as we can to sign it with me. So you will pick up something very, very special by buying the single, by buying the vinyl.
And just so people know, do you have any idea of how much it costs to buy the vinyl if they go on to the
Well, we're thinking of setting the price at about a tenner a go. I mean, it's not going to be $1.49, because obviously the whole idea of it is that we're trying to raise as much money for help musicians as we can. And everybody is subscribed to that. Nobody's gone, oh, well, singles only usually cost £2.50 or whatever it is, because, you know, by pitching it at around the £10 mark, that ensures that that represents a substantial amount of money. So sell all 500, you know, and that's another £5,000 that goes into the kitty. And obviously that's what's important.
Final thing for you, if I may, Bob. Benny King, that song. It was on the, was it Don't Play That Song album? Was that the album it was on? Okay.
Well, it was earlier than that. Don't Play That Song came out in '62, and Stand By Me was the year before that.
Right. And from your heart, when you first heard that song, what did it mean to you?
Literally, I was waiting in my local record shop in Northampton when I lived there at the time. John Lever's record shop. I was 15 years old, and the Decca delivery van arrived, as it always did on the Thursday evening. I knew that Stand By Me was coming out. I'd got all of Benny King's and the Drifters records that preceded it, because he'd made one solo single before Stand By Me, which was First Taste of Love. Funnily enough, I've got all of them here. So that's my signed copy of Stand By Me, the Benny King signed for me. This is a picture of the two of us together in 1960 at BFBS, British Forces Broadcasting Service. And then I've got various sort of Drifter singles. This is Up on the Roof. I've got John Lennon's version of Stand By Me. But this is the first of the Benny King solo records. And I mean, how good is this? It's got First Taste of Love on one side and Spanish Harlem on the other. So I bought that and obviously loved it. And so when I heard about this new Benny King record, I waited in the record shop to get it, took it home, put it on, and I was just instantly captured by it. It's got this unique, the Drifters had this unique mix about them of soul and orchestral music. And that's what Stand By Me is. So you've got this fabulous, very open production sound, the arrangement very, very open. you've got Benny King's fabulous voice. He's got such a rich and warm voice. You've got the glorious sentiment of the lyric, which is very pro-friendship, pro-support, and then it comes to the middle section and the strings come in, and it's like a piece of the most beautiful classical music you've ever heard. So I was just enraptured by this track. And I can, honestly now, over the last, I don't know how many times I must have heard it, the Benny King original and ours, over the last 3 months. And still, like last night, just before my country show started, Joe Wiley played the Benny King version. And the second it started on the radio, I just sat there entranced by it in just the way that I have been for the last 60 years. It's incredible the way this song has lasted. And for me then, to have a song that's been so integral to my life all the way through, to then be produced by Miles, my son Miles, producing artists from every moment in my career, going right back to Rick and Leo Sayer in the 70s, right up to brand new artists of today. It's really been an emotional and very beautiful journey for me, I must say.
Gives me goosebumps as well, listening to both the original and the new version. I mean, they just really give me that tingle. It's such a wonderful song. Bob, thanks so much for speaking to us today, and we will, as ever, spread the word.
Well, it is interesting, isn't it? I mean, you've got obviously the Beatle fans there with you, and this version by John Lennon of Stand By Me, I've always loved this as well, because this was on the rock and roll album. And when I interviewed John in New York in 1975, the rock and roll album was just coming out. And after our interview together, he then went off with Elephant's Memory to film 2 songs for us for the program. So he did Slippin' and Slidin' and Stand By Me. And he did Stand By Me as a kind of postcard to Julian. He was waving at Julian during the course of the song. And so even with John, it has very strong connection memories for me.
Stand by me, stand by me.